Okay, so I'm hearing like this dripping sound coming from my toilet. It can be heard. And this has been happening for a few months, but you can probably also see where the water is coming. Actually, if you see closely, you can see ripples in the water. So basically, and the other thing I noticed is that the fill valve, the water tank would fill on its own even though I couldn't flush it. So it seems like maybe it was losing some water, and after a while the the tank would fill, it would engage in the fill mechanism, and so it seems like there's some kind of a leak happening. The water is probably leaking from the tank, and I checked, there was no leak outside of the toilet. So it's probably leaking from within the tank to this bowl. And I'm also gonna check the level of the water. So that's the level of the water. I could have marked it with some kind of a pencil but I'm just going to make a note of it. And so I have a feeling that I had replaced this fill valve some time back. So this fill valve, maybe a couple of years ago. So this fill valve is kind of new, and I think I had only I think the leak might be happening in this flapper, because I don't think I replaced the flapper when I replaced this fill valve. So there are two components between the tank and this toilet bowl. There's the flapper, and then there's also a seal. So I'm hoping it's just the flapper and not the seal. The seal requires me removing the whole tank and then putting a new seal and reinstalling the tank. So hopefully, and that takes much longer, but hopefully it's just the flapper. And I've also made a note of the level of the water. I made a note earlier and I noticed that it was getting lower, and then this fill valve would engage to fill up the rest of the water. This is adjustable. The level is adjustable where you want it to fill, but basically it would fill on its own. So this was one of the issues. So what I'm gonna do is replace this flapper, and I ordered a new one from Amazon. I ordered a new one from Amazon. I think it was on sale. It's on sale for about $4. So that's the one I ordered. This is a standard 2-inch, and basically it's a toilet flapper and chain, and hopefully the leak is in that, and hopefully replacing this flapper will fix the issue. It says it fixes a leaky flapper and running toilet double flush. Double flush is when the flapper stays, I think it stays up and there's too much water that comes out, and it fixes a worn flapper. So hopefully this should work to fix this leak. And this is the back. It shows that this is a standard size. It's a 2-inch flapper. The other one is a 3-inch, but I'm pretty sure mine is a 2-inch. It's not a 3-inch. And so this should and there are, I think it's adjustable. There's certain things you can do to adjust it. But I'll figure out what needs to be adjusted later. For now, that's what I'm gonna replace. And to replace this, I think I first need to empty this tank. So I'm gonna shut off the water supply, and then I'm gonna flush this so that I can replace it, and that flapper can be seen, the old flapper. Hopefully that is the issue, just the flapper. So it'll be the flapper and the chain, both of them, that I'll replace. And basically I'll go from there, and then I'll see if that fixes the leaky drops that I hear of the sound. Okay, so I've removed this flapper from the packaging, and there's some instructions that came along with it. Here basically there is this there's some kind of a dial at the back over here, and there are numbers along the dial, and this can rotate, I think. So, and this just attaches to the other pipe that goes down. So, and there's some instructions given here, I think, for different types of toilets. There are different settings, and there's an open and a close, but I'm not sure what that means. There's some adjustments that might be needed, I know that. And also the instructions here, looking at the instructions, it says turn water off, flush, which is what I did, mark the tank level M, remove old flapper, install new flapper with minimal chain slack, then turn water on, let tank fill completely, turn water off and flush, water level within ½ inch of mark, yes. The install is complete, no, if you go to step 7, and step 7 is where some adjustment is required. Rotate band B to open hole. So there's a hole, Repeat steps 4 to 6. So you're going to keep trying this. Okay, so basically you have to, initially the hole is closed probably, and otherwise if it does not work, then you have to open the hole, which probably allows some water to get in. Repeat steps 4 to 6. 4 to 6, stone water on, lifting, and then flush, and then you have to see if the level comes back to the level at which it was earlier. And then step 8 is the final step. You have to turn the dial to align the next lowest number with arrow A. And it says to save border, adjust to lowest number while still clearing bowl. Okay, so the lowest number, not sure how this mechanism works. Okay, so this is, right now it's set to 6, and there is the hole, whatever hole it's talking about is not visible. I think this sets the amount of water that can go into this flapper itself, or maybe it adjusts the weight of the flapper, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm gonna just try it at the default setting and then see if it works. Then it just works. And okay, so first step is I have to remove the old flapper, and this is the slack that they mean. I have to make it a minimal slack, so I'm gonna remove this. I think I have it on the 1, 2, 3 and 4th hole from the end, and I'm gonna see how long this chain is in the new one, but I'm gonna try to keep it on the same hole, number 4 from the end. So first I'm gonna try to release this. So I'm not sure how to release this. This seems like a closed loop, but on this side it's like a plastic one, whereas the new flapper that I have is completely a rubber one. I think this just needs to be pulled out. It's like snaps in actually. Yes, it just needs to be pulled out. It's a snap mechanism rather than a hole. Okay, there we go. So that's what it looks like. It's a snap-in mechanism in the flapper that I have. And there's some adjustment over here too. You can see some numbers, minimum and maximum, but I'm not sure what setting this is at. But this flapper is pretty old, so maybe this is the root cause of that small leak inside. And then the next thing is I'm going to remove this chain. there, it comes out. Okay, I got the whole flapper out, and if I just compare the two, that's what it looks like. Now hopefully this actually it's the opposite, it's like this and like this. So that's a comparison of the two. This has a longer style nose, but hopefully that's not a problem. So I'm going to use this new flapper and reconnect it. It's easy to put in, and it seems to sit nice. And then I'm gonna reconnect this to one, two, three, the fourth hole. Okay, this is kind of tricky. Probably harder to do with one hand. Okay, there, I think I got it. Okay, and then I think the next thing to do is, it's according to the instructions. I should have actually made a note of what the level was of the water, but I am gonna, let's see, this is quite, yeah, this seems to be working well. Okay, I'm gonna turn the water back on. And in the meantime, I'm also going to inspect the old flapper. This is a Fluid Master flapper. But I don't see anything in particular wrong with it, but maybe there is a leak. Maybe it's here, I don't know. Maybe there is a leak and I don't know about it. I don't know if this hole is supposed to be here. but and this rubber seems okay, but maybe it's not. I don't know. It's hard to say. Okay, so the water holds, and I guess the question is, can I hear the leak? Is the question, because the leak happens when the water holds. I'm also going to remove this cover here, place it down. Yeah, so place the cover down. I'm going to open this toilet and see if I can see any kind of a water leak or hear it. I don't hear any leak, so hopefully this has fixed the problem. But the test is to see that after I flush it, the water should come back to the same level. I'm just going to visually make a note. It's just below that O, below the level of that last lettering, starting with 0 or an O and it ends in CPF, I think. Just below that is the level of the water. So I'm going to flush it now. And see if it comes back to the level. And it does, the water does seem to come out properly in the hole. I'm going to see if it comes back to the level it's supposed to. And I think it is supposed to send water down to the bowl even though it's filling. I think that's the mechanism that's supposed to happen. Could be mistaken, but maybe that is supposed to happen. You see water in the bowl. But anyway, and this should stop when it finishes filling, I think. I'm not sure how that mechanism works, but that seems to be the case right now. And I'm gonna see what it sounds like. First of all, I'm gonna check if it comes back to the same level. And then secondly, I'm gonna inspect it to see if there's any dripping sound that I still hear or any leak. This is probably going to take quite a while to fill up. And later on I'm going to clean, I think that's some pieces of rusted. I used to have this clip here to hold the bidet. I'm going to clean that later on, but for now this is just to test the system. I did notice, however, that it's filling pretty slowly, and I wonder if that has to do with that setting on the flapper. A lot of water seems to be coming out from the bowl, and this is filling very slowly. And I noticed that this chain is actually stuck it's stuck underneath the flapper. So when I move this and I move the chain a little out of the way, this has stopped. So I think I need to also adjust that chain so it doesn't get underneath the flapper, and maybe I need to shorten this chain or adjust this so that this is higher up. Yeah, this seems a little This mechanism seems a little loose to me, so I'm gonna fix this so that actually this kind of seems, yeah, this should be higher up actually. So I'm gonna fix this later. Maybe tighten, yeah, maybe the screw needs to be tightened. Here, this nut, wing nut. So I'm gonna tighten that too later so that this chain doesn't get in the way of the flapper. Yeah, so this should be much better. Okay, and it has come back to the level that I wanted it to come back. And I also don't hear any kind of a leak. So maybe I have fixed the problem with this new, and I'll keep a watch on it. And I'm also gonna tighten this so that this rod doesn't actually get underneath the I have tightened the screw, but this angle seems too loose, so maybe I need to tighten the screw from the top. I'm gonna do that later. Yeah, looks like this should work.